She was just 17 when she got her high school diploma, told her parents she was going to stay with friends for a few days, then didn't return.
It had reached about the 5th day. And I said, baby, when are you coming back?
It wasn't until the next day, Father's Day, when she finally texted back.
And her words were, don't worry about me, I'm grown up now. I actually had texted her and I said, baby, it's Father's Day. I want you to be with me. And she said, I'm very busy and I'm grown. She kept using that word, I'm grown, which I'd never heard come from her mouth before.
As it turns out, it wasn't really coming out of her mouth then either.
What I didn't know at the time was that he was controlling all communication at this point.
That he was Duane Harris, a man twice her age who had been grooming Brad's daughter online for months. He even paid for her to come to Rhode Island to be with him, or so she thought.
My daughter was actually being pimped out. He took her to the mall, he got her some clothes, and then at some point he said, well, we're out of money and I need you to do something for me. And at that point he had this power over her and basically coached her how to talk to these Johns.
But all Brad knew at the time was that he needed her back. Then an opening.
She texts me. She says, hey, I need some money. My daughter has a checking account that's tied to my account. So when I want to put money in there, I can see where it's going. So what I did was I deposited money into her account, and then I sat and waited and waited for something to happen.
And just 5 minutes later, something did.
They took money out, Broad Street, Providence, Rhode Island. I'm thinking, okay, I know exactly where she is.
But what to do with that information?
And so I kind of put myself in a position, not that I'm Liam Neeson or anything, but like in the movie Taken, where he realizes that this is happening, and at that moment,
But what I do have are a very particular set of skills.
he decides that he's going to do whatever he has to do to get his daughter back. I put myself in that mind frame of whatever I have to do, I'm going to do it. I have to go up there. I have to go up there and get her.
Just hours after that bank transaction, Brad is on a red-eye to the East Coast. And not long after that,
I go to the exact spot where she had just been 24 hours before. And it's so surreal when you know your kid's missing and you're in the exact same spot they were one day before. So I'm in Rhode Island. I'm basically walking a street, looking up and down for anybody that looks like my kid.
Brad also put up this missing persons poster all over town, both a call for tips and a warning to the pimp that he was coming. Then an unknown number on Brad's phone.
And it just happened to be the task force. She said, we're on it. We're working the case right now. All of our officers in the public know who to look for.
The next day, Brad meets with detectives. And after they put Duane's phone number into their search database, Brad finally learns that all the terrible things he'd been imagining were true.
Instantly, we had a hit to Backpage.com, which is known for prostitution. I saw pictures of my daughter in states of undress. I was really angry at that point because I had confirmation that my daughter was being trafficked.
But Brad was no longer fighting alone. Detectives, along with the FBI and Homeland Security, were on the case.
There were things that I thought only happened in movies. Basically, they took his phone and they put a trace on it. I'm thinking, oh, I want to be there when this goes down. And they said, no. You can't be there when this goes down because A, you might kill somebody, or B, they might kill you, and then we'd be responsible.
After that, investigators tell Brad to get some rest, an impossible request as long as his daughter is gone.
Everybody was looking for her at that point. And it really worried me at some point because I thought, at what point does she become expendable to this guy? What point does he say, I'm getting out of town, and I'm either taking her with me or I'm not taking her with me?
Days pass, then as thoughts of the worst swirl in Brad's head, an urgent message from the law.
The text says, we got her. It was a moment I'll never forget. I instantly dropped what I was doing, ran outside with my phone and called her mom. And I said, we got her.
Cops were able to trace Duane to his apartment, where Brad's daughter was also holed up. And after Duane was arrested, Brad learned just how dangerous the situation had been.
He had pictures of my house on his cell phone. He had pictures of my ex-wife's house on his cell phone. He knew where I worked. He knew people in my life. I felt very violated, and I have a son as well who's underage. So I was very, very concerned.
As for Brad's daughter, though she was finally physically removed from her trafficker, she was still far from free.
He had brainwashed her to the point where she had disconnected from her reality and started only thinking of what he wanted.
After she turned 18, she even moved back to Rhode Island to be closer to her incarcerated pimp. And when it came time to try Dewan Harris for sex trafficking, an unbelievable turn. Brad's daughter takes the stand for the defense.
She got in front of the judge and said, everything I told the cops is a lie. And he didn't do anything. He didn't pimp me. I did this all on my own.
But was that really Brad's daughter speaking, or was someone else reaching out from behind bars?
It's been found out that he had written hundreds of letters to her, and basically saying, I'm your fiance, you can't testify against me. It was considered witness tampering and intimidation.
In exchange for a guilty plea, prosecutors dropped that and other charges. But for sex trafficking a 17-year-old girl, Dewan Harris was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison, no chance of parole. Not long after that conviction, Brad got a call from his daughter in Rhode Island.
She said, hey, do you have any money?
It was not unlike calls he'd received before, but this time a twist.
She said, could you buy a ticket? I said, what, are we talking about a plane ticket? A one-way plane ticket? And she said, yes. I said, okay. And she got on the plane, and she's been back here ever since.
Though she's been forever changed by being held as a sex slave, Brad says his daughter is doing well, trying hard to rebuild her life after falling victim to a crime he didn't even realize existed.
These are things that I only thought happened in movies. People are being traded for money. People are being trafficked. And it happens every day under our noses.
And to the man who thought he could take Brad's daughter,
Wherever he is in a cold, dark place, I hope he understands that this is one father that was not going to give up on his kid.
we all need to fight as hard as Brad to save our children from this horrible crime. I promise you, we here at Crime Watch Daily will do our part. And to all you predators out there, remember, we are watching. And if you would like to see an original special investigation, Stolen for Sex, in its entirety, go to either our Facebook page or our YouTube channel.